You gotta try a Bulldawg. You gotta try the Medussa. Bulldawg. Medussa.
Oh, Medussa. That color works everywhere, and it certainly worked here. And I threw on the Mag Pro Dog in Sunset Jailbird. There we go. Long-legged, fairly clear musky.
So
that's the first one on the
Sunset
Jailbird.
Sunset.
All right, let's get this one back.
I'm Kenzie. I'm Katie. And this is a throwdown. Wow.
Thanks, girls. This is going to be a showdown between two of the most popular musky lures of all time. They are definitely Hall of Fame style musky lures. The Bulldawg and the Medussa. I don't know which one came first. I honestly don't know when they were introduced to the market. All I know is that ever since I've ever been really into musky fishing, there's been a Bulldawg, there's been a Medussa, and people are divided on you're either team Medussa or you're team Bulldawg. Lots of people love both. And it's one of those things that it doesn't matter what forum you're on or where you are or what dock you're talking to people at or in my wife's sports shop. People want to compare these two lures. And I guess for good reason, because they're two of like the OG rubber baits, two of the most popular, certainly. And they're two that are just easy to compare because they look very similar outside of the tails. But at the very heart of it, it's just two of the most successful musky baits in history. And the purpose of today's video is just to show you guys kind of how they look underwater. And we go through a couple different sizes. So let's go check out the video, guys. Okay, guys, like I was saying in the shop, we are going to look at the Medussa. Let me straighten out the camera because that's what we're going to do. We want to compare the Medussa and the Bulldawg. They're like the two best rubber baits, the two OGs, if you will. Right here I got a mid Medussa. This one is definitely faded. It's old, it's caught a lot of fish for us. And this is a regular size Pro Dawg, so it's got soft harness in it. And we're thinking that these are very similar in size. Actually, you might need a little bit bigger Bulldawg to move as much water as Medussa just because of the tails, but that's kind of our rationale for today. So let's look at the mid and the regular. All right, guys, so here we have the regular Medussa, probably one of the most popular sizes. This and the mid, I think, are probably the two most popular sizes. So let's have a look at this. And for sake of clarity, I got the body rolled in a little bit. That usually just helps it have a little bit more pop when you're doing pull pause on it, which is how everybody typically likes to run their Medussas. Okay, here's another regular Medussa and probably one of the most popular patterns of all time, black and orange. Doesn't matter where you fish muskies, black and orange is gonna be a thing. All right, so to kind of compare with the regular Medussa, this is the Mag Pro Dawg. So it's definitely a little bit bigger, but our thinking is you need a bigger size Bulldawg to move the same amount of water because of the single tail. That's our theory. So we're gonna look, this is one of the custom colors that we had a hand in. This one's called Carbon Perch. Really love this color, love the white belly. Let's see how this one looks. So right off the get-go, the big takeaway for us was they look very similar. Like, in all honesty, on straight retrieve, there's not a lot of difference. Obviously, the Medussa with its 3 tails moves a little bit more water than the Bulldawg. I mean, that's pretty obvious. One of the big things that we've seen is on the pull pause, which is how everybody likes to run a Bulldawg. The Bulldawg on the pull and then the pause, it just kind of was gliding. And it didn't have that nose down drop that we were expecting, and that you kind of see with the Medussa. It has a some glide, but it also wants to go nose down. So that kind of surprised me. I will say that because we're in shallow water, I mean, you can see I'm up on the raft, Dave's out in the water with the GoPro trying to get some underwater footage. We only have so much water to play with, so we can't let it really drop. We can't do anything really erratic with it. So it's not really showing you what it might look like over 20 feet. It was more to show you different sizes and how they look kind of side by side. But I think the big takeaway was they are very similar. They do very similar things, and it's not really always one or the other. I think you can use both at different times and do something, almost the same. The Medussa definitely has that drop down, and I know lots of guys like to use it in that heavy pop, pop, pop over top of cover, and it works really good for that. And you can do the same thing with the Bulldawg. I think one thing that's made these lures so popular is all the mods you can do to it, and that's something that we're going to explore next year, just looking at, adding weights on it. How's that affect it? Try and boil them to get the tail softer, see if it actually makes a difference or if it's just something in our head, stuff like that. Run them. Lots of guys like to run rubber baits without a leader, and you just use fluorocarbon and tie a loop through here so that it's as most lifelike as possible. Mostly that's on like the big swim baits, but we might try stuff like that next year. And Dave and I really wanted to do a straight up comparison video where he takes the Medussa, I take the Bulldawg, we go half the day, we switch spots in the boat just to see. Unfortunately, it just didn't happen for us this year, so that's something that we're going to do next year. But it was really cool to get these in the water. It's something we've wanted to do for a while, and something else come up, and it was one of those things that we just couldn't ignore.
You can't compare the Bulldawg and the Medussa without the Quad Dawg.
Had I aired this video when we recorded it in the summer, this bait wouldn't have been part of this, but I would be totally remiss if I, if I did not include the Quad Dawg. Ever since word got out on the street of the Quad Dawg, everybody was like, it's just another Medussa. And yeah, the comparisons are there. I mean, you can defend it either way. You can say they're the same. You can say they're different. You can say whatever you want. There's no doubt that they're very similar. And to be totally honest, I wasn't sure myself. I really didn't know what to expect out of the Quad Dawg. I was really shocked that it has that pro style harness, so it's super soft, and it's quite a bit heavier than a Medussa. And what we've seen in the underwater footage that you guys just seen is that it really wants to drop nose first on the pause. To me, it acts a lot more like a red October tube. Doesn't have as much nose down attitude because the tails kind of slow it, which is what a Medussa does. But we just couldn't do this comparison without kind of showing what this looks like next to the Medussa.
Can you compare 3 baits? Quad Dawg, Medussa, and the Toad.
I want to thank Kenzie and Katie for helping out on this video. They're a big part of my life and what we do and the channel here for you guys. You guys will be seeing a lot more of them in 2024. And let's roll out with a couple of bloopers, because whenever you have kids involved, you're going to have some bloopers. And at the end, check out the video over there where we're going to look back at some of the very best swim baits we've ever used. And until next time, 54 Bus is out of here. We'll catch you guys out on the water later.
Bulldog. Don't try to.
That's okay. It doesn't work if you're laughing.
Quad Dawg, Medussa, and the frog.
The toad.
Okay, I'm Kenzie. I'm Katie. And this is a throwdown. What? Kenzie, you have to say it!
That was almost